Somewhere beneath the sands of Egypt, workers drilling a water line in 1936 struck something solid. They dug deeper. What they uncovered had been buried for over 3,000 years, and it had no business existing. This is not a story about myths or legends. Everything you are about to see has been photographed, studied, and debated by archaeologists, engineers, and historians, and none of them have a complete answer. Throughout history, archaeologists and scientists have uncovered discoveries so advanced, so precise, or so completely out of place that they've rewritten what we thought we knew about the ancient world. Some of these finds date back 12,000 years. Others were hidden beneath oceans, buried under deserts, or locked inside tombs for millennia. All of them share one thing in common: they have no satisfying explanation. These are 7 ancient discoveries that continue to defy explanation, even today. In 1900, a group of Greek sponge divers were caught in a storm and forced to shelter near the small island of Antikythera. While they waited, they dove to pass the time and discovered one of the most significant shipwrecks in recorded history. The wreck was loaded with ancient Greek treasure: bronze statues, glass, jewelry, coins. But among the artifacts, researchers found something strange: a lump of corroded bronze about the size of a shoebox. It meant nothing to them at the time. It sat in a museum for 2 years before it fell apart and revealed what was inside. Inside were at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, hand-cut with a precision that modern engineers still struggle to replicate. Researchers eventually determined what it was: an astronomical calculator. A machine designed to track the movements of the sun, the moon, all 5 planets known to the ancient Greeks, and predict solar and lunar eclipses, accurate to within hours. To put that in perspective, this level of mechanical complexity, interlocking differential gears, wasn't seen again in human engineering for 1,400 years. The next comparable device appeared in 14th century Europe. No one knows who built it. No surviving texts describe it. No similar device has ever been found. The Antikythera mechanism exists in complete isolation, a single data point that doesn't fit the timeline. In 1994, a Kurdish shepherd named Şafak Yıldız was walking his flock across a hillside in southeastern Turkey when he noticed something sticking out of the ground. He assumed it was a grave marker and moved on. A German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt heard about it, came to look, and immediately recognized what no one else had. This was not a grave. This was a temple, the oldest one ever discovered. Göbekli Tepe is approximately 11,600 years old. To understand why that is extraordinary, consider this. The pyramids of Egypt are 4,500 years old. Stonehenge is 5,000 years old. Göbekli Tepe predates both by thousands of years. It was built by people we have always called hunter-gatherers, nomadic pre-agricultural societies who, according to everything we thought we knew, were not yet capable of organized construction. They had no cities, no writing, no government, no farming. And yet they quarried, carved, transported, and erected 200 limestone pillars, some of them 6 meters tall and weighing more than 20 tons. The pillars are covered in detailed relief carvings of animals: foxes, snakes, lions, vultures, scorpions. The craftsmanship is remarkable. Schmidt spent the rest of his life excavating the site before his death in 2014. Researchers estimate that only 5% of Göbekli Tepe has been uncovered. The rest remains buried, deliberately. Evidence suggests the entire site was intentionally filled with soil roughly 10,000 years ago. No one knows why. Above the ancient Inca capital of Cusco, Peru, sits a fortress that modern engineers have studied for decades and still cannot fully explain. The walls of Sacsayhuaman are built from stone so massive that the largest weighs approximately 900 metric tons. That is heavier than 700 cars stacked together. The stones fit together without a single drop of mortar. Some joints are so precise that not even a sheet of paper can be slid between them, despite the stones being cut into irregular polygonal shapes, some with more than 30 distinct faces. Every face matches its neighbor perfectly. Modern engineers who have analyzed the site agree on one thing: They do not know how the stones were shaped to this precision, nor how they were transported from quarries up to 40 kilometers away and raised to a hilltop site at an elevation of 3,500 meters. Inca oral histories describe the walls being built by a race of giants who could move stones simply by singing to them. Spanish conquistadors who arrived in the 1500s assumed they were the work of demons. Today, engineers use phrases like the most impressive stonework ever created by any civilization, and leave the method as an open question. In the coastal desert of southern Peru, stretching across nearly 500 square kilometers of flat, arid plateau, someone carved a message into the earth. The message is completely invisible from the ground. The Nazca lines are a collection of hundreds of geoglyphs, geometric shapes, perfectly straight lines running for kilometers, and enormous animal figures, some stretching over 300 meters from end to end. A hummingbird, a condor, a spider, a monkey with a spiraled tail, all visible only from the air. The Nazca people created these between approximately 400 and 650 AD. They had no aircraft. They had no way of seeing what they were making from above, and yet the proportions are nearly perfect. Researchers who have surveyed the figures from the air confirm that the scaling is geometrically precise. The most baffling aspect is not the size, it is the lines themselves. Perfectly straight lines run for over 10 kilometers across terrain that rises and dips. No surveying technology we have attributed to the Nazca people could explain that degree of accuracy. Modern teams attempting to replicate the straight lines using only period-accurate tools have failed to match the originals. The purpose of the Nazca lines remains genuinely unknown. Astronomical calendar, religious ritual space, water mapping. Every theory has supporters. None has consensus. In 1987, a diving instructor named Kihachiro Aratake was exploring the waters off the coast of Yonaguni, a remote Japanese island near Taiwan, when he swam over the edge of something he couldn't explain. 27 meters beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, there is a structure covering an area of roughly 1 square kilometer. It features flat terraced platforms, right angles, what appear to be stairs, a large arch, and at least one feature that resembles a road. The main platform rises 15 meters from the seafloor. The debate among researchers is direct. Is this natural or man-made? Geologists who believe it is natural point to the way sandstone fractures at right angles along fault lines, and note that several features are consistent with natural erosion. Researchers who believe it is artificial point to the consistent geometry, the apparent staircase formations, and what appears to be a carved human face embedded in one section of the structure. If it is man-made, the implications are significant. The area was above sea level approximately 10,000 years ago, meaning the structure would predate every known human civilization by thousands of years. In 1938, a German archaeologist named Wilhelm König was cataloging artifacts at the National Museum of Iraq when he noticed something unusual about a small clay jar. It was sealed with an asphalt stopper. Inside was a copper cylinder. Inside that was an iron rod. All three components were corroded in a pattern that König recognized immediately. This was the structure of an electrical battery. König's hypothesis: if the vessel was filled with an acidic liquid, grape juice, vinegar, citric acid, it would generate an electrical current of approximately 1 to 2 volts. Modern replicas have confirmed this. They work. At least 12 similar vessels have been found in the same region, dating from approximately 250 BC to 640 AD. This is roughly 2,000 years before Alessandro Volta invented the battery in 1800. The mainstream position among archaeologists is that the vessels were used for storing scrolls, not generating electricity. But a significant number of researchers disagree, and the electroplated gold artifacts found in the same region add another uncomfortable question to the pile. Were ancient craftspeople using electricity to plate metals? No one has proven it. No one has disproven it either. The Great Pyramid of Giza has been studied more than perhaps any other structure in human history. After nearly 5,000 years, it still holds records. It is the most precisely oriented building ever constructed. Its 4 sides align with true north, south, east, and west with an average error of less than 3/60ths of a single degree. The most accurate surveying instruments available to Egyptologists in 1880 had a margin of error larger than the pyramid's deviation. The building is more accurately oriented than those instruments could measure. The base of the pyramid, covering over 5 hectares, is level to within 2.1 centimeters across its entire surface. That is across a stone platform, nearly a quarter of a kilometer on each side, leveled without laser technology, without modern surveying equipment, in approximately 2560 BC. It contains an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks weighing between 2 and 80 tons each. The internal chambers are aligned with specific stars and constellations with a precision that required knowledge of astronomical cycles spanning thousands of years. We have theories about how it was built: ramps, sledges, water lubrication, tens of thousands of workers. What we do not have is a single, complete, universally accepted explanation that accounts for all of the precision simultaneously. Engineers who specialize in modern construction, people who build skyscrapers, have stated publicly that they do not know how to achieve the same level of precision today without modern equipment. The pyramid is not just old, it is better than it should be. 7 discoveries, 7 unanswered questions. The Antikythera mechanism, a computer built 2,000 years before its time. Göbekli Tepe, a temple constructed by people who weren't supposed to be capable of it. The walls of Sacsayhuaman. Stonework no modern engineer can fully explain. The Nazca lines, perfect geometric art, visible only from an altitude its creators could never reach. The Yonaguni Monument, a possible city sleeping 27 meters beneath the Pacific. The Baghdad Battery, an electrical device 2,000 years before the battery was invented. And the Great Pyramid, still the most precisely oriented building on Earth. History is not a straight line. It is a series of fragments, some of them ancient, some of them buried, and some of them pointing toward a past we are only beginning to understand. V. If you want to go deeper, the next video covers 5 ancient structures that engineers today still cannot explain how they were built. It is linked above. We will see you there.